The member for Etobicoke Centre.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move the motion that, in the opinion of this House, the Government of Ontario should recognize the success of the International Languages Program provided by the Toronto Catholic District School Board, and upon the completion of this transition funding period, the Toronto Catholic District School Board should find mechanisms so that they can permanently support the study of the international languages in the primary division in schools under its jurisdiction.
Ms. Sarma has moved private member's notice of motion number 26. Pursuant to Standing Order 98, the member has 12 minutes for her presentation.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Good afternoon. Today, I rise in the House to talk about education, and in particular, a unique program offered to the Toronto Catholic District School Board, the International Languages Program. I welcome the following trustees: Marcus de Domenico, Ida Lapridi, Teresa Lubinsky, and Maria Rizzo. Thank you for coming today. There is also a group of visitors that came to hear this presentation today, and I welcome you to the House, and I also thank you for being here. I think every member in the House recognizes the importance of quality education, and that improving education in Ontario should be and is a priority. We are obligated to our children, our future children, and to ourselves to ensure that our young people are provided with the tools they need to succeed in life and with proper guidance to pursue their dreams. It is through our education system where we can make all of that possible. Our schools are the extension of our homes when it comes to our children. Schools are where they learn, they play, they socialize, and they develop friendships and connections away from home. This is why I am moving this motion today, to recognize the International Languages Program and the important role it plays for the students whose lives are enriched by learning another language and culture. Before I start, I would like to thank Minister Thompson for her incredible work and action as the Minister of Education. I could not have more confidence in her leadership and guidance on this incredibly difficult file. I would also like to thank our caucus for being supportive, and of course the Minister of Tourism, Culture and Sport, and members from King Vaughan and Etobicoke Lakeshore for volunteering to speak on this item. Immediately after the election, Madam Speaker, it was brought to my attention that the Toronto Catholic District School Board was considering to make cuts to the International Languages Program. For those that are not familiar with the program, it is offered in 44 Catholic schools and offers an extended day model of 30-minute daily class instruction in 6 different languages. Currently, the following languages are included in the program: Italian, Portuguese, Spanish, Ukrainian, Mandarin, and Filipino. The Toronto Catholic District School Board's own statement is that the International Languages Program has a distinguished history of providing our students with valuable opportunities to learn a third language and culture that prepares them to thrive in today's interdependent global society. The brain, like any muscle, functions better with exercise. Learning a language involves memorizing rules and vocabulary, which helps strengthen the mental muscle. The many cognitive benefits of learning languages are undeniable. People who speak more than one language have improved memory, problem-solving, critical thinking skills, enhanced concentration, ability to multitask, and better listening skills. Different languages handle verbs, distinctions, gender, time, and space differently. Physiological studies have found that speaking 2 or more languages is a great asset to the cognitive process. The brains of bilingual people operate differently than single language speakers, and these differences offer several mental benefits. Speaking a foreign language improves the functionality of your brain by challenging it to recognize, negotiate meaning, and communicate in different language systems. Students who study foreign languages tend to score better in standardized tests than their monolingual peers, particularly in categories of math, reading, and vocabulary. Children who grew up learning about languages develop empathy for others and curiosity for different cultures and ideas. Furthermore, in later years, career opportunities, of course, increase for those with additional languages to offer. Parents know these facts, Madam Speaker. They will go to great lengths to immerse their children in a learning environment that will give their kids the best chance. Many families move to specific communities in order to enroll their children into this language program available at their local Catholic school. I know this to be the case for families in Etobicoke Centre. Cancellation of this program would mean that 44 schools in Toronto, 2 of which are located in my riding, would be affected. The 2 schools affected in my riding are Joseph Cardinal Slippy and St. Demetrius. Parents in Etobicoke Centre and in other ridings who were affected by this decision were understandably upset. A decision such as this, made in the last month of the academic year, does not allow for appropriate stakeholder engagement and thoughtful discussions within the Catholic school community. I was informed a couple of days before a scheduled Toronto Catholic District School Board meeting in July that this program was an item on the agenda. When this matter was brought to my attention, I immediately contacted the Minister of Education, the member from Huron-Bruce, to find a way in which we could assist in preserving the program. I attended the July 12, 2018 Catholic District School Board meeting, where hundreds of parents, teachers, and students came out to show support for the program. Fellow members brought it to my attention that they were hearing strong support for the program in their ridings. I heard countless testimonials from the people at this meeting regarding their positive experiences and opportunities. I heard about the meaning that this program brought into their day at school or work or at home afterwards. Parents spoke to the fact that enrolling their children in this program gave their families the opportunity to share their culture through language with their children. To many communities, such as the Ukrainian community, the language is the culture and therefore critical in preserving their heritage here in Canada. Students offered stories of how learning a third language allowed them to speak with friends and grandparents in other countries and build their cultural roots. They made it clear that their lives were enriched by language. Teachers expressed their passion to share language with their students, how it brought further meaning into their life work as educators. The disadvantages of learning an international language were none. The only negatives we heard were that should the program cease to exist, the difficulty would be finding the opportunity elsewhere and being able to access it. Together, we encouraged the trustees to extend the program for another year as is, in order to give the school board more time to find a reasonable solution. The program has been temporarily saved for the 2018-2019 school year. But we cannot stop there. Today, our government for the people, under the leadership of our Premier and the Minister of Education and the Minister of Culture, Tourism and Sport, is sending a clear message that we support this unique and important program. Today, I am looking for full support from the House. I would like to encourage all members to stand by us so that we may together send an even stronger message to the Toronto Catholic District School Board that we do not want this program affected, removed, or limited. I am asking the members in the House to put students and families first and to encourage the school board to work towards finding a solution that includes the program's preservation as it currently exists within the curriculum. This would include keeping 4 periods of 30 minutes each week. I was fortunate enough to have had the opportunity to learn my native Polish language while growing up in Ottawa. I'm sure many times I fussed about having to go to school or about additional assignments, but cannot begin to express how grateful I am to have that opportunity. Because I was able to learn Polish, today not only can I better serve my constituents, those of Polish descent, but I can communicate with my mom and dad and family back home.
Good job.
I can go to Polish church, attend Polish events, all of which is an integral piece of my self-identity and makes me who I am. My own personal story of knowing my language and culture is that I came to Canada when I was 4 years old, and I left a communist country. It was a number of years before members of my family could return home. The first time I had the chance to go back to Poland was when I was 15 with my mom and my sister. Of course, we stayed in touch, and I knew a lot about the country, but I had never had the opportunity to see members of my family in person. When I finally got to meet my uncle, his wife, and my little cousin Camille, it was so wonderful to be able to communicate and greet them for the very first time in my native language. It was an emotional experience, and in one day I felt we were never apart for so many years, and we were able to bond. What being able to speak Polish gave me was that immediate connection, and it's something that is irreplaceable. Without that language, it just would not have been the same. Without the discipline of having language lessons growing up, I can't say I would have paid as much attention to it as I perhaps should have. I know that these communities feel the exact same way. I would like to take this opportunity to thank my mom and dad, Margaret and Miroslav Surma, for never budging and always encouraging me to do my Polish assignments on Friday and driving me to my lessons, and for making that sacrifice for so many years.
To them.
That's why when other moms and dads came to my office or called me fighting for the program, I immediately thought of my parents and how they would have reacted. I know that they would be fighting in just the same way. I want to thank all the parents who came to the meeting, who wrote letters, who called their local MPPs for fighting so hard. It's invaluable what you are doing. The purpose of this motion is to provide families and students with that same opportunity. Let's work together to make sure that this is not taken away. Our work in this House, and I'm speaking to all members, is to improve education. So let's stand together and send a strong message to the Catholic Board that every member in the House supports the International Languages Program. Thank you very much.